There was a request from someone recently on our Facebook page to see pictures or video of how to set up the float system, so I thought I would walk through a short video of what I have set up with my rain barrel using the floats and quick connectors that I got from Larry. By far the easiest way to set up the system for automated watering is to take advantage of Larry's packages. He really has done all the hard work in figuring out how to put the different components all together. I bought a float starter kit, which comes with the adapter that connects to the spigot on the rain barrel, some hose, and the Carrick float valve and housing. And the float is already set for a 1-inch water level. Since I plan to do multiple rain barrels and pools, I ordered some additional spigot adapters and T-connectors. I've checked around and Larry has a competitive price for these. One of the problems that people run into is confusion about hose size, and I just wanted to mention that the thing to be aware of when picking out a hose size is to keep track of whether you're talking about the inside or the outside diameter of the hose. Now I chose to work with a 3/8 inch outside diameter, which happens to have an inside diameter of 1/4 inch. So it's a common mistake for people to go into their big box hardware store and pick up a 1/4 inch hose from the irrigation section and finding out that they really have a 1/4 inch outside diameter hose when what they wanted was the inside diameter. You can see from this picture that the inside diameter of that little 1/4 inch hose is much smaller than a 1/4 inch. So it's just important to be aware of the differences when you're looking. Now Larry sells a starter kit for both size hoses. He recommends using the 3/8 inch if you're using a rain barrel on your system, but if you're connecting to a faucet where there's more pressure, then the 1/4 inch should work just fine. There are a dozen ways to set up a rain barrel, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that, but I'll just say these two things. One is that it's been recommended to buy a bulkhead when you're setting these up, and I tried to do that but found that they were like $12 or $13. So I hopped on Amazon and found this one for only $8, and it was worth it to me to order several of them online. The second thing is that the spigot comes in either 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, and you just want to, when you're deciding which adapter and hose you're going to use, to be sure that it matches the spigot that you've got connected to your system. So how do you work with quick connectors? So to hook this all up, it couldn't be easier. You just take it and just plug it in. Push it in as far as it'll go. You don't have to push it hard, but just get it firm in there. And you'll see when you pull it out, this little ring comes out and it is not going to come out. And to take it off, you just push it in and you hold in this little ring. Then you can pull it out whenever you decide you need to move or change it. So really, as I said, my recommendation is to attach the adapter first and then put the hose into the adapter. For running the hose from the rain barrel to the first float, I didn't do anything more complicated than stretch the hose from the rain barrel to the T-connector for the first pool, where I wanted to put the float in the housing. In my pools, the bottom is ridged, so there's probably no problem with the housing getting plugged up, but I'm using lava rock in this pool, and over time they sort of disintegrate into a mud that gets down in those ridges on the bottom. So to be sure that there was no problem, I just put down a couple of 1/8 inch dowels for the housing to sit on. To measure the length of the hose from the float to the T-connector, I just plugged the hose into the float first and then ran from the float up to the T-connector instead of vice versa. And then the hose on the third side of the T went to another float over in the next pool. And I just kept repeating that process until I had them all connected. I didn't put the rocks back into the pool until I turned on the water and saw that the water filled to the depth that I expected. If it's not at the level you're happy with, it's easy to just simply turn over the float housing and adjust the float with the wing nut. When I was satisfied that it was working correctly, I just covered up the entire housing with the lava rocks, and that's all there was to it. I hope this helps. It really is very simple, especially if you start with one of Larry's starter kits. But if you have any questions, just leave a comment. This is a helpful group, and I'm sure there's folks out there with ideas on how to do this even better.